Denise, Denise, it's Denise, it's Denise, it's Denise, Denise, it's a podcast party, it's a podcast party, it's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and it is the AEW Dynamite Thanksgiving edition episode. So happy early Thanksgiving to each and every single person watching this show. November 24th, and we kind of had a loaded AEW Dynamite to talk about here tonight. So here's the deal. Going into the show, I didn't necessarily think that the card was screaming, oh my God, can't miss show or anything like that. Like the card didn't necessarily scream that it was a can't miss show. However, with all of that being said, I thought this was a pretty entertaining episode of AEW Dynamite. We literally kicked off with a banger of a promo between MJF and CM Punk, which we're going to get to in just a couple of moments here. And we ended up with some really good wrestling on tonight, some really great promos, a lot of, vignettes, a very, very, very fast-paced show. Maybe there was like one thing that I didn't like on today's show, but that was kind of about it. For the most part, it was an entertaining show, a fun close at the end, and we will get into that and all of that and more here today. Also, I do want to let you guys know that I am feeling a little bit under the weather here today. So if at any point it looks like I'm going to pass out on this stream, just let it happen. Just let it happen. We will keep rolling. We'll keep the action going. Additionally, I do want to let you guys know that this is an interactive stream. Guys, if you want to get your comment, your question, or your statement read on today's show, please feel free to send in a super chat. Those help me out so much. That is how I make a large portion of my money. So if you guys do want to send in a super chat, feel free to do so, and I will read your question, comment, or statement here on the air. We are getting some super chats in, and we're going to go ahead and read those, and then I'm going to go right into CM Punk and MJF and kind of kick things off there. But first and foremost, we got a super chat from Anthony Diaz who says, I need a smoke after MJF and CM Punk's promo. Dude, here's the thing about this, about CM Punk and MJF, is that this was one of the things that everybody was saying was like, their promos are going to be sick. Their promos are going to be out of this world. That the mic work that these two guys are going to share is going to be great, like beyond great. And so a lot of people put a lot of, I don't want to say pressure. Pressure's not the right word, but there were high expectations. I think every single person here watching, every single person that's a fan of AEW or MJF or CM Punk or both or all three, I think you guys had some pretty high expectations. Now, normally, or a lot of times when you do have high expectations for things, it's kind of impossible. Sometimes you can't meet those expectations. However, I don't even know how long that promo was. I didn't time it or anything like that, but I kid you not, I filled up an entire page of notes. I was dying just trying to keep up with some of the lines, trying to tweet them out and all of that, because they had so many good zingers, so many good burials that we're going to get to in just a moment, because there were a lot of shots that were fired here tonight, and we will break those down in just a second. We got another super chat from Darth Steven C777 who says, happy Thanksgiving, love you and that opening. Thank you so much, man. Sebastian McCulloch sends in a super chat saying AEW delivers. What else is new? Look, I don't want to sound like I'm in anyone's payroll or like I'm a shill or anything like that, but it is kind of hard to argue with that statement when you do consistently have a lot of really good AEW Dynamites and a lot of really good AEW Rampage episodes. Another super chat from Hagen who says, Colt Cabana's tooth took less of a beating than Cody tonight. Oh boy, will we be talking about Cody Rhodes, because he had an interesting night with some interesting moments. Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury sends in a super chat saying, just want to say happy Thanksgiving to y'all from the Salisbury house. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving, man. I can't wait to eat all the delicious food. My good friend Cameron Mumford is in here, sends in a super chat saying that opening segment was pure fire, the definitive masterclass in promo work. Who needs scripts? Because there definitely was no scripts here. If this was a match tomorrow, we were all in the building. Denise, you're awesome. And here's the thing, guys. We're literally just right now one promo. This is literally just one promo from MJF CM Punk. You know that because, okay, AEW, Tony Khan, and all of these guys are fully aware that people are looking forward to these promos between both of these guys. So you know we're going to get more than one. You know this is just the beginning, which is kind of scary and also very exhilarating. Eric Peralta sends in a super chat saying, happy Thanksgiving, Denise. That CM Punk MJF promo was the single greatest piece of microphone work in pro wrestling this year. I love wrestling. Now, I just want to take a second because you did mention that this was the best promo work in pro wrestling this year. At the end of this year, and really just like a month, less than a month at this point, when we're talking about the greatest promos, the person who's cut the greatest promos in wrestling this year, I don't want to hear any other name other. Oh, shit. Wait, no, let me take that back. Damn. No. Okay, I was going to say MJF, but then I was like, shit. Eddie Kingston. And then I was like, shit, I still have to include CM Punk in there. Never mind. I was about to come in here with a surefire answer. I don't even think I have one. Eddie Kingston and CM Punk was literally my favorite promo of the year. This one was great. I still like that one a little bit more just because they were two different promos, but oh man, that's going to be a tough one. All right. Thank you so much to Eric Peralta. Carlos Mendes sends in a super chat saying the Mexican representation tonight was lit. Sebastian McCulloch sends in a super chat saying Jamie Hayter is way too good to be lackey. So glad it seems she's separating from the good doctor. Her match with Thunder Rosa was straight fire. This was definitely Jamie Hayter's best match in AEW, and we'll talk about that in just a second. All right, guys, I'm going to read another super chat, and then I'm going to get into the actual show. This one is from DKC Returns, who says, I got to be honest, guys, that opening segment was too long for me. Sorry if I give Denise $5. Will you forgive me? Look, here's the thing about me, guys, and if you've been watching my shows now for like over a year now, which I've been here on F4W now for over a year, you will know that there have been times when I come on here with some controversial opinions and people won't always agree with me. But here's the thing, guys. My number one thing is as long as you're not a gimmick, if you're not coming on to a podcast just to shit on stuff, just to hate on stuff because that's your gimmick, I don't like that type of stuff. But if you're like an honest person and you go out there and you're a podcaster and you're giving your honest 2 cents, you can like things and you can dislike things. I'm very, very open when it comes to things I do not like and things I do like. You guys know because you guys have seen me take the heat for a lot of stuff on here. So with that being said, I like to have my own opinion. Therefore, I allow the people here watching the shows to have their own opinions, regardless if they're in line with mine or not. And then again, you also paid me $5, so I'm okay with that. All right, guys, let's get into this. Let's talk about that CM Punk MJF promo, because holy bananas, there was just so much that went down. All right. So I'll be honest with you guys. Here we go. Here's a, I don't know. This is not really a controversial opinion. I don't know anymore. When I found out that it was going to be QT Marshall versus CM Punk in Chicago for this Thanksgiving Day episode, I thought to myself, I'll be honest, I did not care. I had no interest. It made no difference for me, okay? It made zero difference in my life, no impact, okay? Now, with that being said, because of everything that they did prior to this match with MJF and CM Punk, I did not give a damn if CM Punk was out there wrestling a freaking pencil. I didn't care because the whole story here is about MJF and CM Punk, all right? So now, let's talk about some of these lines. It's to the point, guys, where MJF had some really good ones here, but I kind of feel like CM Punk brought the very best. I don't know. I kind of feel like CM Punk brought his A game. This one's gonna be tough call to say who out promoed the other. But here we go. We kick things off with MJF essentially calling CM Punk a little bitch for taking his ball home with him, addressing his past with WWE. Now, one of the things that you're going to hear me say a lot today is WWE and WWE talents, because this was a major, not a major focus, but a lot of WWE stuff was thrown into this promo. Now, I already saw on Twitter that there were people that did not like that. There's already been people that do not like the fact that AEW is constantly throwing shots at WWE. So given that this promo had a lot of mentions of The Miz, Triple H, John Cena, etc., you just know that there's already people that are not going to like this. So if you're not a fan of AEW constantly mentioning WWE, then you probably are not going to like this promo, okay? So I'll warn you now, you probably won't like it. But MJF starts off by addressing the pipe bomb, and he tells CM Punk, like, that was one of your greatest moments, putting out the pipe bomb. But you know what? That was your one moment, because MJF, I have a bunch of moments. Every moment with MJF is a moment. So automatically he starts off by calling CM Punk a one-trick pony. And I'm thinking, all right, this is good. This is okay, but this is not really that much of a burial just yet. And throughout this, as MJF is running his mouth, you kind of just see CM Punk just very chill, very relaxed. He's not the kind of person that you just start seeing his veins pop out of his head. That's not who he is. So then MJF starts attacking the looks of CM Punk, okay? He brings up the fact that CM Punk is straight edge, but then he says, I never imagined that a man that is straight edge could look like a meth addict. Take that for what you will. Obviously, he's judging CM Punk on his looks. He starts basically throwing shots at CM Punk's eyes. He says that if anybody needs to go to sleep, it's CM Punk based on his eyes. So he attacks the looks of CM Punk a whole lot. He even tells him that his breath stinks like shit and all of those different types of stuff. MJF goes on to tell CM Punk that he's going to verbally finish CM Punk's career faster than his UFC career, faster than his MMA career. And that was when things kind of really started to heat up. Like the meth line, I thought was a really good line. I thought the MMA line was a really good line as well, because CM Punk's always having to take shit from people about that. He's constantly getting, teased. And you see that a lot on social media where CM Punk's getting attacked by that. So MJF furthers by telling CM Punk, you drop pipe bombs, but I drop nukes. Then finally, after all of this, we see CM Punk take the microphone. And at this point, I'm thinking, damn, can he really hold his ground next to MJF? Now, obviously he can, but for a second there, I thought, what if he can't? Well, he definitely can. He starts addressing MJF as a fanboy, essentially, because one of the gripes that MJF had with CM Punk is that CM Punk never mentioned him as a dream opponent in AEW. In all of these interviews, CM Punk was mentioning all of these names. So CM Punk says, I wasn't going to add to your ego. And then your ego. And then he says, I thought this entire time that MJF stood for my jealous fan. And he then points out, I live in your head, MJF, because you know that you have a poster of me in your room. And I thought that was such a good line, guys, because obviously there is the age difference. Everybody a lot of people in the business grew up or were young when they were CM Punk fans. So I really did like this. And then this is where I think CM Punk really took things to a whole other level. And from this point on, things went from, oh, this is cute, we have some cute lines, to, oh, this is getting serious. This next portion is where we start getting all of those WWE mentions. So CM Punk straight up calls MJF a less famous Miz. I kid you not. A less famous Miz. And I'm thinking to myself, did he just say, I don't know why, but anytime you get a mention of someone's actual name, remember how much heat Bryan Danielson got when he just mentioned WrestleMania? I know people are sick and tired of the WWE mentions, but at the same time, they garner such big reactions. And so the crowd is chanting, Miz at MJF. MJF is getting heated, and this is where things start to really go another direction. This continues on, guys. MJF starts basically telling CM Punk that his whole entire life, he has been second best. He tells them, he doesn't say their name specifically, but he basically gives a nod to Triple H and to John Cena. He tells CM Punk, you've always been second best, and then he mentions John Cena, and he also mentions Triple H. Now, this was also a big deal because a lot of people can argue that because of the way WWE saw John Cena and the way they saw Triple H and the way they saw CM Punk, even though CM Punk was a big star and the fans were behind him, the company didn't necessarily see him the way that they saw guys like John Cena and Triple H. So in turn, you could argue that he was seen as second best. Maybe not to the fans, but definitely to the company. So that was a really good line. So then CM Punk fires back, and he basically tells he continues to tell MJF, like, you're out here not even realizing that you consider yourself one of the four pillars. He's one of the four pillars, etc. But he hasn't even realized that Britt Baker has essentially replaced him as one of the four pillars. And that was a really good line there. CM Punk continues to go on by mocking MJF for his singing. He says, quote, I was out there selling out Madison Square Garden while you were fanboying over Rosie O'Donnell. So you see a lot of this. And then it gets worse, guys. After this, CM Punk tells... I think this to me was like the cherry on top of all of this. CM Punk tells MJF, the only way you are going to be number one in AEW is if we wait around long enough for Tony Khan to have a daughter and you could marry her. So you guys are smart. You guys all know how to read in between the lines. That was a shot at Triple H. Someone who was mentioned again earlier in this promo. And that is essentially the precipice of what happened between MJF and CM Punk here tonight. So it was a lot of burns, a lot of mentions of WWE, and so much more in between that I didn't even get to mention. So if you're here in the chat, what did you think about this promo? I know I posted a poll out there asking people who they thought was the one that I guess you can say out-promoed the other, but it was so funny because everybody just responded with, we the fans won that promo, which we really did. I cannot argue there, but for the sake of an argument, I do think that CM Punk won this one. I'm going to say CM Punk freaking went out there and he just hit some lines where I was just like, holy shits. Or shitsnits. Let's see what you guys are saying, guys. Let's get some thoughts in here. We got a super chat from Eric Peralta who says, okay, maybe the second best this year. I agree, Denise. I'm sorry. I just really love that Eddie Kingston CM Punk promo. So this one for me, like, even though there was a lot of really good burns, I think for me, the other promo was better just because of the raw emotion that you got from Eddie Kingston. Really kind of sold it to me in a different way per se. And let's see what we got here. We got another super chat from Ray O who says, I'd rather have AEW take shots instead of WWE acting like wrestling doesn't exist outside of them. It's two totally different things, man. WWE won't mention, the accolades of other, wrestlers, their accolades of other companies. They don't really mention other companies. We already know that. I know that for a lot of people, the shots to WWE are getting old. For me, it depends, honestly. I'll be real. For me, it depends. If the line is good, if it makes sense, if it's going to be a burn that I'm like, then I think it's worth it. Now, here's another thing. Like, I am a big Triple H fan. Like, people know this already. Damn, I was freaking King of Kings Triple H for Halloween. I'm a big Triple H fan. But with that being said, I did not have a problem with the lines and the promos and the shots that they essentially threw here tonight. Why? Because I like stuff like this. I feel that stuff like this elevates, wrestling. It elevates the storytelling, the promo work, the mic work, and at the end of the day, I'm here to be entertained, and that was entertaining for me. So even though you could be a fan of everybody that was mentioned here and still be like, oh shit, that was a bomb ass line. So anyways, thank you so much to Ray O for sending in that super chat. I really, really appreciate that from you, excuse me. Justin Martin sends in a super chat saying that was one of the best promo battles of all time. So incredible. It got me to pay for this comment. So many memorable moments. I loved it all. And there were some funny responses too. So when I asked people on Twitter who was the stronger or who won this promo battle, right? The majority of the comments, 90% of the comments were the fans, right? A couple of people did answer, but one of the ones that literally popped me so freaking hard was somebody who just wrote down The Miz. And I was like, hell yeah, bro. The Miz kind of won in this promo because he was essentially he wasn't necessarily buried in this. If anything, he's out there trending on Twitter. And I don't know what the hell The Miz is doing right now, but imagine bro goes on Twitter and all of a sudden he looks and he's trending. He's like, what the hell did I do? What did I say? Why am I trending? So I kind of thought that was pretty hilarious. So thank you so much to Justin Martin for sending in this super chat. We got a comment from Keenan Capin who says that this was 20 plus minutes of gold. Was it really 20 minutes? Man, I was so invested in this. I didn't even realize everybody's saying it was 20 minutes. I didn't even realize, honestly, the time. I just did not pay attention to it at all. Rayo sends in a super chat saying MJF is getting a hell of a rub. Bleacher Report posted it and people were commenting it's the mid guy, referencing his promo in Cincinnati. There was a lot of good stuff. Even CM Punk mocking him for making it onto the New York Post, and he's bearing MJF because he's, minimizing his accomplishments. This was really fantastic stuff, guys. Really fantastic, guys. Let's see what we got here. This one is from Pro Wrestling Fan who says, I don't even see this as them taking shots because it's not like they were saying stuff to insult except for the Tony Khan daughter line. Other than that, it was just them insulting each other. It was them insulting each other. Exactly. For that specific line, that was obviously a shot at Triple H. That was definitely a shot at Triple H. 100% a shot at Triple H. Everything else was kind of just bringing in a little bit of reality into bringing in a little bit of real life stuff into this promo here. But this was definitely a big win here. And I'm going to go through a couple of other comments, some non-super chats as well. This one is from Dale Irazi, who says, I was more impressed with MJF because he is way younger than CM Punk, and someone that young shouldn't be that great. Well, MJF has been consistently great, and I feel like people that are great at something, people that are naturals at something, there's not an age. There's not an age where you start being great. I mean, you see little kids out there freaking singing goddamn, they having the best voices ever. I've seen little kids singing opera, and I'm like, bro, you're 7 and you're out there with these high vocal cords. Talent does not have an age. Exactly. But we got a lot of people pointing this some really good stuff here. This is a comment from Trevor McGuire who says, I think AEW won because I really want to see that match now. Take all my money. And let's see. All right, guys, let's continue on. In the meantime, for those of you guys who are in this live stream, I just want to remind you guys that this Friday, I will be back. I'm going to be covering Smackdown and Rampage, 3 hours of wrestling action packed in to one very fun, hopefully fun podcast. We got a super chat from Sheldon Jackson who says, I feel like it's just the beginning and the promos will get more personal over time. I think that they're not just going to get more personal, but more creative. I would probably expect more of these shots at people or these shots at the past, more of the CM Punk stuff. I'm pretty sure that stuff is going to continue to come up. MJF is going to, you just know he's not afraid to cross the line and go I mean, come on, look at all the stuff that he said to Brian Pillman Jr. All right, think about how that went down. Okay, you guys remember that promo? There was a lot of stuff that a lot of people did not like that he mentioned. I loved it, but there were a lot of people that thought that it went too far. MJF don't care. MJF will go far. It makes for some very good material here. The Miguel says, this is a dream feud I've been waiting for since the Punk rumor started. All right, guys, let's get into this. Let's continue on with the show. Damn, we literally, holy shit, 24 minutes on the first segment. CM Punk versus QT Marshall. Again, this wasn't a match that I was necessarily all that goo gaga for, but it ended up happening. It was harmless with everything that happened before. At this point, I didn't care. I was just there to enjoy myself. I was on such a high. I was like, all right, this is cool. Aaron Solo, Nick Camarado, they get involved in this match. Referee kicks them out. CM Punk ends up CM Punk hits QT Marshall with a clothesline right before they go to commercial break. They go to commercial break. They come back. They have it out a little bit more. And in the end, we see CM Punk win with the GTS. Harmless. Fine, decent. We got a quick backstage promo from Jurassic Express and Christian Cage, basically pointing out that they are feeling more confident and more motivated than ever, that they are running on a whole other level of momentum, and mention that Jurassic Express is essentially the #1 ranked tag team in AEW. So that means that they should definitely be getting another title shot soon. After this, Eddie Kingston is attacked backstage while he's having, I think it was a piece of cake and maybe a coffee. Yeah, it was definitely a coffee, maybe a chocolate cake. Anyways, he's backstage. He's eating his food. 2.0, Daniel Garcia come out here and they basically get underneath his skin. They bring up the fact that they don't think that Kingston is hungry anymore. And I'm not talking hungry like literally hungry, like metaphorically hungry, anywhere figuratively hungry. Oh, man. All right, let's continue on. So they offer their help. They offer their assistance to Eddie Kingston. And then they even bring up Jon Moxley. And they say that he couldn't even help find his friend, Jon Moxley. And the mention of Jon Moxley's name is essentially what pisses off Eddie Kingston. They end up throwing the coffee in his freaking face. He gets freaking pissed off. I don't know how anybody has the courage to throw coffee in Eddie Kingston's face, but they do. He gets mad, he starts throwing things, and that's pretty much the end of that. And let's get into an announcement. So AEW Battle of the Belts was officially announced for Saturday, January 8th, 2022. That is going to be taking place on a Saturday, which is going to be one of the specials that they are going to be doing. And it is going to be in I think it's the Bojangles Arena. Yeah, Bojangles in Charlotte, North Carolina. So this should be very exciting. I'm looking forward to these Saturday shows. I love wrestling on a Saturday, so whenever we can get it, I will appreciate it. So this should be fun. AEW Battle of the Belts. Send in your thoughts on either of these two items, and we'll go ahead and talk about those in just a second. AFC and TP sends in a joke saying, "My man just wanted to finish his cake." You don't do that to somebody, all right? You let them finish eating their damn cake. And we got a comment from Mac who says, as a newer AEW fan, I hate that they just assume the audience knows who everyone is. Just a name bar with when people are in a backstage segment would help a lot. I agree. I do agree with this, actually. There are times where I'm like, who this? Who's that? I watch the show every week. But the thing is, and I think the major thing is that a lot of the guys, they appear, on AEW Dark, on AEW Dark Elevation. So I think that sometimes it's just there's an assumption that if they've appeared there, you already know them. But a lot of people don't get the opportunity to watch AEW Dark or AEW Dark Elevation. Me being one of them, I don't always get to watch the shows because there's just too much going on. But yeah, I don't necessarily hate that idea. I don't think it hurts. We got a super chat from Brandon Rosen. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, did you read the Players Tribune article? I did, and I have so much respect for Eddie Kingston than I did already. That dude is so real, says Brandon Rosen. So I did not read the article, but I did listen to Bryan Alvarez and Mike Sempervive essentially break down the article when they covered it on Wrestling Observer Live. But I did not get to read the actual article. But thank you so much to Brandon for sending in that super chat. All right, guys, we're moving on. So backstage, we do get a segment between Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. They're backstage. Adam Cole is essentially heated up. He says that he and Bobby Fish were like best friends. And then the real best friends, they show up. So best friends come out, and then essentially Cole ran down that the team, like essentially the team one by one, and essentially offered him and Fish and Cassidy and Yuda a match between them. So that's going to be happening. And then let's get into this was probably my least favorite segment of AEW tonight. I did mention there was one thing that I didn't like, and it's not that I didn't like it, it's just that it didn't measure up to everything else that happened on the show. And that was Billy and Colton Gunn versus Bear Country, which is Boulder and Bronson. Now, I will say this. We got to see Bear Country quite a bit in the beginning for a bit on Dynamite. There were a couple of weeks where I felt like we were seeing them quite a bit. There was a good chunk of time there, but then we kind of really haven't seen them that often on AEW Dynamite. So, but the times that we did see them, and the times that I did get to see them on Dynamite, I was a fan of Bear Country. Like, I love Bear Country. Bear Country, they're my kind of tag team guys. Like, two big guys, if they can move, when they can move and they're hard hitting, oh, that's all for me right there, guys. I'm all for the big guys, man. So I was kind of hoping to see like a really good ass whooping. I was totally expecting for Billy and Colton to get the win. I figured that was the direction they were heading in. They did end up getting the win, but the match really was not impressive. I didn't think that Bear Country ended up looking all that great. Neither did Billy and Colton. It was just kind of like a whatever. It was a very whatever's match. There really wasn't much to add here. We did get to see a little bit of the strength from Bear Country. We do see, I believe it was Bear Boulder, who lifts up Billy over his head, just drops him over the mat. That was kind of cool. We see Bronson essentially toss Colton over his head like he's a rag doll. That was pretty cool, but in the end, Colton does get the win for his team. So again, it was a very quick match. Nothing very impressive out of this one. This was probably my least favorite portion of the show here tonight. We got a super chat from Sebastian Mikulik, who says, Billy Gunn is a mutant. Dude is 58 and jacked. He is definitely jacked the hell up for sure. Good for him, man. Good for him. All right, guys, let's get into this next segment here. We see, I forgot to talk about the post-match stuff, guys. The post-match stuff after this. So after this match, we do see Sting come out. Very nice reception. He comes out, and Austin Gunn literally hauls ass straight towards Sting because he's planning on attacking him, right? So Austin literally runs up the ramp and is headed towards Sting, and literally out of freaking nowhere, out of the tunnel, Darby Allin just comes out running, literally perfect timing, and spears the hell out of Austin Gunn. That was pretty cool. I really like that. That was a very good timing. So kudos on them for that one. I was more impressed by the timing than anything at all. We got a comment here from Twisted Seraph, who says that Darby murdered Austin. Bro, he murdered him, brought him back to life, and murdered him again with that one spear. I kid you not. I kid you not. AFC and TP says Allen came out like a human frisbee. For reals, honestly, for reals. He really did. We got Church of Platinum saying Bear Country was wasted. What do you mean? What do you mean? I actually don't get this one. Question to Mark says they had injury issues, but I think Bear Country has a bright future. I don't think they are fully all elite yet. I don't know, actually. I don't really know on that. I'll have to check about that afterwards. And yeah, everybody's putting over Darby for just essentially killing Austin there. Our rig says Darby has mastered flying into someone from off the camera into a shot. He really has. He legitimately has. Legitimately. All right, guys. Team Taz officially has their sit-down contract meeting. I don't know what they were calling this. With Dante Martin. They've been trying to recruit him to Team Taz. And it looks like Dante Martin is game. Dante Martin is game. He signs the contract. He eats some barbecue lays from Hook. All is good, I guess. Send in your thoughts on this one, guys, because I kind of wasn't expecting this. And then part of me was very, very heavily distracted by Hook eating chips. Don't ask me why. But I was definitely surprised by that for a second. We got BG the Cam saying that shocked him a bit. Same thing with Question the Mark, Hodge Gulashi, same exact thing. I was shocked too, but I kind of like it though. I do like it because now Team Taz is essentially a bunch of guys that all bring something different to the table and all have like good futures in store for them, like bright futures ahead of them. And I like Taz, man. Taz just adds so much to everything that he's doing. Like literally whenever Taz is on commentary, expect some gold out of him. But with that being said, I've been a fan of Team Taz, and I like the idea of Dante Martin wanting to be part of this as well. Wrestle War says, Dante heel turn was a twist, but Dante was never shown to be 100% down with Leo. He wasn't. He kind of just let Leo run his mouth. Well, he kind of just went out there and did the work. Like, you never really got anything else from Dante. So, like, besides, like, him being good in the ring, which I love Dante in the ring, but in terms of, like, the on-camera stuff, whenever they were being interviewed and all of that, you would kind of just see him there, like, just really nodding his head along here. We got Carnell Harden, who believes that Team Taz is a waste. There's a lot of potential. They just need to do a little bit more with them. But they have been, though. They have been doing more with Team Taz. They really have. I think it'll get better. It'll get better here. El Profe Jr. 88 says, I'm intrigued. Hope this leads to Leo versus Dante and Leo versus Starks. I think it will. It definitely will. That's definitely the direction that we are bound to be seeing here. And we got a comment from Aztechnology who says, I wonder where this is going. I'm going to let it play out. Tony has rarely let the fans down. That's the thing, guys. And we've talked about this a lot. Forgot there was a big story. It might have been the Kenny Omega Christian Cage one. And there might have been something else where it wasn't the direction people thought that it was going to be, but it ended up working itself out. There was something else to a smaller scale, and I don't remember what it was, but I remember people kind of being like, all right, let's just let it play out. And in the end, it played out and it was all right, We got a super chat from Amir F who says, Leo buys out Team Taz, maybe. I don't think so. No, I'm going to go a different direction. I want to see... I kind of want to see like a Leo Rush essentially going up against like Team Taz, all the odds stacked against them sort of deal, wrestling all those guys. I like that idea. Pro Wrestling Fan says, I wasn't expecting it, but happy Dante joined Team Taz. When Top Flight first came to AEW, Taz said he wanted them on Dark and hope this gets all Team Taz on TV more, or a Swerve and Dante versus Starks. And Saul P says, going to be interesting to see Dante wrestle heelish with the skill set he has. He can do it. It could be done. It could be done, guys. All right, guys. Let's get into this. Let's get into Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter. Now, before I actually do get into this match here, a lot of you guys know that just this past weekend, I made my official commentary debut, like my official commentary debut, Mission Pro Wrestling, which is run by Thunder Rosa. And I just want to take a second to literally, guys, I know you guys already like Thunder Rosa and she's cool in that, but from an insider's, I don't know, would you say an insider's perspective? Probably an insider's perspective. Dude, she's freaking dope. I don't know how else to say this, but that experience that I had with Mission Pro was legitimately a great experience, run by good people that literally went out of their way to make sure you had everything you needed. Thunder Rosa gave some really, really inspirational speeches to everybody where I just kind of felt like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be here. Kind of felt like a nerd. But it was just a really fun experience. So I do kind of want to put over Thunder Rosa and Mission Pro. And seriously, guys, if you are in the San Antonio area, December 11th, Silver Bells, San Antonio, Mission Pro. Google it, missionprowrestling.com, and it can come out. It will come out. If you are in the San Antonio area in Texas, please consider going out to the show. There's a lot of really good stuff. And also, titlematchnetwork.com is where you guys can watch the show and listen to my commentary. And I'm new to commentary too, guys. So if I suck a little bit in the beginning, give me a couple of shows. But so far, everybody's been saying I did a good job. So hopefully they're not lying to me. We got a super chat from Sebastian McCulloch who says, Jamie Hayter is a boss. Push this woman. Jamie Hayter is somebody that has definitely had the fans at her side since the very beginning. Since the very beginning, I feel that she's been a fan favorite. So let's get into this actual match, everybody, here. So we had Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter, and I was actually going to pull up this graphic here, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull the actual graphic here. So we have Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter. One of the things that they did make sure to note is that Thunder Rosa has won the last 29 of her 30 matches that she has had, now essentially winning 30 of those 31 matches that she has had, because she did get the win here. But before we get to, the TBS Women's Championship actual bracket and where we're headed to next, I do want to talk a little bit about this match and why it was actually a pretty freaking great match. So first and foremost, this was the best match that I have seen that Jamie Hayter has had on AEW by far. This was a very good match. We saw both Thunder Rosa and Jamie work a lot of the midsection of one another's during this match. We see right off the bat, Thunder Rosa just literally slaps Jamie on the chest. They go to the outside of the ring. They brawl on the outside of the ring for a little bit. They get back in the ring. Jamie starts stomping the hell out of Thunder Rosa. Rosa lays in several shots in the midsection of Jamie Hayter, kicks her in her midsection, and then we see Thunder Rosa hit her with a drop kick to Jamie Hayter as well. Then we see another drop kick from Thunder Rosa off the top rope to Jamie Hayter. And then while Jamie Hayter is on the ground, she literally just runs and does a drop kick onto her while she's on the mat. She drags her to the middle of the ring. She goes for the pin, and it ends up being a near fall. And then they get really aggressive. They start exchanging backs and they start exchanging left and rights back and forth with one another, getting very, very aggressive. I really, really like this. And this is the point where I was like, this is Jamie's best match. Afterwards, Rosa locks in a submission, but Red Bull ends up distracting the referee. And then we end up seeing Britt. She comes in and she's like literally trying to kick Thunder Rosa, but instead she ends up hitting Jamie, and this ends up allowing Thunder Rosa to end up getting the victory here. And now if we pull up the bracket, here, we are going to get Oh, this is the wrong bracket. Hold on. Here it is. All right. This is the actual bracket. This is the updated bracket. So now we're going to get Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill. And we are still going to get Nyla Rose versus somebody else. We don't know. It's either going to be Chris Statlander or Ruby Soho. My prediction is that it's going to be Ruby Soho and Nyla Rose. And I think it's going to be Ruby Soho and either Thunder Rosa or Jade Cargill here. So this will be very interesting now that we're getting to the final 4 women in this tournament here today. So let's see what you guys are saying, guys. Send in some predictions, some wants, whatever. Send them in the comment section. Let's get some thoughts in here. We got a super chat from Survivor Series Golden Egg. The egg is in the house. Says, to be honest, Thunder Rosa is a goat of human beings. Dude, she is. And they fed us pizza afterwards. I was starving after the show, and they fed us pizza. I was very, very, very happy. Survivor Series Golden Egg, I appreciate the super chat. Really, I do. And let's get through a couple more comments. Let's see what you guys are saying here. This is a comment from Leonard who says, Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill feels like the de facto TBS championship match. I believe the winner of this will most likely win the title in early January. Hayter is outstanding. Loved all of this. And here's the thing, too, is that Jade Cargill technically already has a pin over Thunder Rosa. When they did that triple threat match, Jade Cargill already has a pin over her. I wasn't that fond of it, but I'm not that I wasn't fond of it. I was more so surprised that they had Thunder Rosa take the pin on that one. Really, really surprised there. Question the Mark says, I think Hayter is only 26, if not mistaken. Bright future. I'm actually need to find out. I don't know how old she is. She's 26. She's 26. Very, very bright future. For sure. Edwin Pacino says, give me Jade to win the tournament. Question the Mark points out that this has been a very good tournament. This tournament has been very good. There have been some really great matches. If you look back at the let me pull up the bracket here to refresh my memory for a second. I still think that one of the best matches that we have seen was definitely Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. That match was fantastic, and I would probably put Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter as the second best match that I've seen in this tournament. Those are definitely my two favorite matches of this tournament by far. Those two matches I think have been the highlights of the actual tournament here. And let's see what we got here. Advi Devon says, I feel that Rosa loses to Jade because of Britt's faction, and Jade loses to Ruby in the finals. Gary Lyles predicts that Jade should lose due to outside interference, so she has a feud that is not title connected. Oh God, guys. All right. Oh man. I'll talk more about this once the tournament continues, guys. All right, let's move on. We'll move on from this, guys. We'll move on. Oh yeah, also Haj Galashi points out that Red Velvet and Jade Cargill was also a good match. Dale Razi says, I bet Ruby will win it all since she will be able to defend the title more, and Rosa would be better match to get the title with Baker. Ruby Soho also, when I interviewed her, she did mention she has never won a title on national television. So, that would be a big deal for her, like a big deal. Now, Labor Day says, I'm skeptical Jade will win. She's very green as well, but her own admission too. Moving on, guys. Moving on. All right, let's get into Friendsgiving. So Tony Schiavone and Britt Baker have Friendsgiving. Rebels there, and they got a very nice feast put out. They got a turkey. They got some they got apple pie, or was it pumpkin pie? Yeah, it was pumpkin pie, I think. And I saw stuffing and some other items there. I was distracted in the beginning of this. So instead of listening to like what was happening, I was just looking at the food and seeing like what food they had. Sorry, that's just where my brain went first. But anyways, if you guys recall, Riho was never eliminated from that casino battle royale that took place at AEW All Out. And there were a lot of people who were pissed, and rightfully so, because she never officially got eliminated. And we're finally seeing her get some sort of, I guess you can say a reward or some sort of, there's justice being done essentially for Riho here. So Tony Schiavone basically brings this up that she never got eliminated. So she now has a match with Britt Baker on Friday. And if she defeats her, she will be earning a title shot. So AEW Rampage, Black Friday, we're going to get Riho versus Britt. And if she wins, she gets a title shot. This is cool. I'm glad they finally addressed this because they definitely needed to address it. I do think... I don't think they're going to give Riho a title shot. I have a feeling Britt will win. If Riho wins, it's not going to be a clean win. So we'll see how they do it. We'll see how they do it, because I do think that they could do Riho, Britt Baker. And Riho is over, guys. Like when she was at AEW All Out, she got one of the best reactions from a lot of the people there. So put her up there. Tim Moving Parts says it's a champions contenders match. And Gary Lyle says cherry pie, 2 on the nose. Did they have cherry pie? I didn't notice. I'll have to look at the photo again because I screenshotted it. So I'll look back at that in a second. We got a comment from the Cooge97 who says, so happy for Riho. She deserves justice after that Casino Battle Royale incident. Thank you, Tony Khan. Nick A says, poor Shivani uninvited to the DMD Christmas party. Exactly. He's done. He's out of that invitation list. Oh, man. And, cool. I think we'll read this comment from Chaotic Fantasy, who says, while I like Riho going against Britt, I still don't like that this is a match against the champion to get another match against the champion. But at least I get it, because nobody likes like the number one contenders match, but with the champion, I get it. She could have had a match against Jamie. They could have been like, all right, if you defeat Jamie, then you'll get a shot at Britt Baker, right? They could have done something like that. But man, at this point, like, I'm like, you know what? They took so long to even address this. They took so long to even execute some sort of action on behalf of Riho. At this point, I thought they were just going to let it go. I thought we had all just forgotten about it. So I'm glad that this kind of came back up again, because I thought that they were just going to pretend like it never happened. All right, guys, but let's go ahead and jump into our next topic here. Before we do, just another friendly reminder, guys, if you haven't already, if you're already on here, please make sure you guys subscribe to F4W Online. We have surpassed 80,000 subscribers. We are en route to 100K. If I can help persuade you guys to subscribe, if you're listening to the audio version of this, don't forget, consider this your friendly reminder to head on over to YouTube, and also make sure to click that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitch homies, make sure to give some love over to the YouTube dudes and dudettes as well. But let's get into Bryan Danielson versus Colt Cabana. This was a fun little match. This wasn't like the greatest ever Bryan Danielson match, but it was definitely good. Bryan kicks this off. He starts chopping the hell out of Colt Cabana. He works the left side of Colt Cabana, eventually bringing him down to his knees. The second Colt Cabana is on his knees. Bryan Danielson gives him several kicks to the chest. Once they're back on their feet, we see Colt Cabana end up hitting a moonsault. Very nice moonsault on Bryan Danielson. Then for the win, we see Bryan lock in the label lock. Colt Cabana taps, and Bryan Danielson is so savage. He decides not to give up the hold. He keeps the hold there for a lot longer than just a couple seconds extra, just to really make sure Colt Cabana is feeling that pain. Oh, I loved it, because obviously we're seeing heel Bryan Danielson. So keeping in the label lock a little longer was definitely a really good move there. Again, another harmless match, and we're moving on to the Bryan Danielson, Hangman Adam Page cowboy shit confrontation. But really quickly, we got a super chat from Sebastian McCulloch. Thank you so much to Sebastian, who says, heel dragon is my everything. He has till 5. Thank you so much, Sebastian, for sending in this super chat. All right, so Bryan Danielson, Adam Page confrontation. So what we have here is obviously, a follow-up to what we saw them do last week, which was absolutely phenomenal. This wasn't at the same level as what they did last time, but that's okay. Adam essentially comes out and tells Bryan Danielson, look, I want a match. I'm not leaving. I'm not going to leave Chicago until I get a match. And Bryan Danielson's kind of like, you know what? That's not very cowboy shit. That's coward shit. You coming out here and asking for a match when I just wrestled one? And I was like, I agree with Bryan Danielson. That's kind of messed up. He just wrestled. Poor guy. So Page then tells him, well, dude, I'm not leaving Chicago without a fight. So then he tells Bryan Danielson, I get it. You just had a match. So how about this? I'll let you have the first shot. And I was like, oh, that's dirty. That's very disrespectful. And Bryan Danielson's like, huh. And he takes the first shot. Bryan Danielson takes the first shot. They begin to brawl. Hangman Page ends up going for the buckshot lariat, but Bryan Danielson obviously realizes that's what he's going for and essentially hauls ass out of the ring to avoid that buckshot lariat from Hangman Page. Good stuff. I like that we're getting just a little bit to keep us going. We had that really good confrontation when the following Dynamite after Full Gear between Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page. That was good stuff. So now, this was okay, but this was just a nice little follow-up to that. So I like it. It was perfectly fine. Let's see what we got here. Any comments on this, or are we just going to move on? The Cooge97 says Danielson drawing scorching heat from the fans. Laura Pelagia says heel Bryan coming out of the face entrance. I didn't even notice that. No, I didn't notice that. Oh, damn. And then people are basically putting over that Bryan was booed hard. Well, yeah, people love Hangman Page. Really quickly, before we get into the main event, guys, we got a couple of matches announced for this Black Friday AEW Rampage show, which once again, I will be here live covering. We got Eddie Kingston versus Daniel Garcia. That should be a fun match. I think Eddie Kingston's going to come out here and kill some ass, and it's definitely going to be Daniel Garcia's. Britt Baker versus Riho. Again, if Riho defeats Britt Baker, she can get a title shot. That should be a good match as well. And then we have Adam Cole and Bobby Fish versus Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta. That should be a fun match as well. Next week, we have one match announced for the December 1st show. We're already in December. The TBS Championship Tournament continues, and we're going to see Ruby Soho versus Chris Statlander. Prediction is that Ruby Soho is getting the win there. And now, let's get into that main event. So this main event was a very enjoyable clusterfuck. There was so much that happened in this match where I'm going to try my best to highlight some of the main things that happened here, but it was those things that there was a little bit of everything mixed into one. It was an 8-man tag, so clearly that's bound to happen. But there was a little bit more that went down that led to a very exciting finish and a very good match. I liked this main event. All right, we had FTR, Malakai Black, Andrade taking on Cody, Pac, and the Lucha Bros. So this was pretty fun. Let's talk about Cody Rhodes for a second, though, because damn, Cody Rhodes be getting that heat. The people do not like Cody Rhodes. For those of you who so Cody Rhodes recently deleted his Twitter account. He deleted it. He basically said on Busted Open Radio that there's just too much negativity on there. He's still on Instagram, but he decided to delete his Twitter accounts. The people have not been fond of Cody Rhodes as of late. And obviously some people don't necessarily separate storyline from reality. So I think things got a little too far with Cody Rhodes and his, fan base. So he had to essentially remove his Twitter account. But now, here's the thing, is that Tony Khan and AEW, they're fully aware that Cody Rhodes is not necessarily getting the desired reaction. Everybody was basically saying he should turn heel, but he still wants to be a babyface. During this match, he throws out his belt. He throws it out into the audience. And then a couple moments later, they throw it back out of nowhere. You just see it coming in and just flying, and it gets thrown back in there. And commentary is just like, man, this is disrespectful. And I was like, oh, that's good stuff right there. And then later on in the match, Cody Rhodes threw it out again, but to the opposite side of the audience. I don't know if it ever came back, but I did see him throw it out. So really quickly, let's talk about that for a second, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other items that happened in this match here. We got Cherry Relax. It says that Cody has corporate hate. Nick A says, over the top entrance, creates Codyverse, says fans think he's gone Hollywood. Why don't they like me? There's been I like Cody. I like Cody. There's times where he'll do things where I'm just like, what? This entrance, it is a little too much. It's a little very, very dramatic. I get it. Doesn't always have to have this big entrance, but I'm like, all right, whatever, right? That's just Cody, and that's just who he is. Anyways, but it's definitely gotten under the skin of a lot of people here. A lot of people. And Gary says, didn't the Bucks shut Twitter down also? They still post their little bios and stuff. I see that all the time here. All right, and let's get into Al Profe Jr. says, peer pressure sucks. Guy probably wanted that souvenir. Yeah, apparently, and I didn't notice this, but people on Twitter were telling me that the fans were essentially telling him to throw it back. The fan who caught it, they were telling him to throw it back. So if you probably got peer pressured into a situation like that, then I can see people throwing it back. If I would have caught it and people were yelling at me to throw it back, I would have been like, okay, can't stand up for myself. I'm going to throw it out there. It depends on the situation, of course, but you just never know the situation. Either way, but this match was freaking awesome. And I just need to, as all of these guys are awesome, but please, we need to highlight Rey Fénix in this match because Rey Fénix just goes out there and man, he moves like the Flash. He does some stuff where you're just like, bro, are you even human or are you a rubber band? We see him literally hits so he hits a Hurricanrana and then a drop kick on Andrade. I really like that and so he gets him with two. So a Hurricanrana and two drop kicks after that. I really like that because it was a really fun sequence, very, very fast. And then we see, this was funny. So there was a point where Cody was getting attacked by all the members of the other team. And this was because Aubrey was essentially distracted. I forgot what was causing her to be distracted, but she was distracted. So Cody was getting beat down by all the other four guys. And literally the crowd is cheering, woo! They're also happy to see Cody get beat. And then afterwards, we see Rey Fénix hit another Hurricane on Andrade. We see Malakai Black hit Rey Fénix with a knee to the face. And this match just really starts to pick up, really starts to speed up, and you see a lot of action from all of these guys. So we see Pac give Andrade a really, really awesome belly-to-belly suplex because they were so close to the turnbuckles that it's almost like there wasn't enough space. So when his body hit, it was like he was completely like folded into like, I don't even know what. But it was a very impressive visual that we saw there. We got a moment between Arn Anderson and Tully. They got into the ring together, and just as they're gonna, have that heat, have that moment, Jose, the assistant, comes in and he starts grabbing his huevos for some reason, and he's saying, I don't know what. So they look at him and they basically punch him out and beat him out of the ring. We continue back to the action. We see Fénix hit a crossbody. I think he hits it on FTR. At this point, things are moving so fast, so I'm trying to keep up with everything. Then we see the Lucha Brothers do some awesome teamwork. We see Penta go for the Tope Con Hero. Then we see another crossbody from Fénix from the top rope to the outside. Really good stuff. And then we see Malakai Black essentially spit mist in the face of Pac. And then Andrade hits Pac with a spike DDT and ends up getting the win for his team. A lot of really good stuff in this match. I liked it. It was enjoyable. It was a clusterfuck. It was great. Send in your thoughts, guys, on how you felt about this main event. Naft Gaming says that this was a great episode of Dynamite. Labor Day says you'd get beat up not throwing the belt back in Chicago. This wasn't in Hoffman Estates. I could imagine. I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I'll take your word for it. Adazi the Beast says, I think Andrade was a little spotty in this match tonight. Has really good, but telegraphed a lot of the stuff in the match. Man, I didn't care. I thought it was awesome. And the speed in which he was moving in, I was sold. Justin says this match was crazy and chaotic and definitely lived up to the hype. The heels winning was absolutely the right move. Lord Pelagius says Cody needs to turn heel or take some away for a bit so people miss him. I love the guy, but he needs to take the hint, assuming I'm not being worked. So you lead me into my theory here. Keep in mind that they all know that Cody is not liked by a majority of the people. I think at this point, it's more so where now they feel that it is cool to hate Cody Rhodes. So I feel like now they're just messing with the fans. That's the way I see it. I think they're just messing with the fans now. I think they realize that the fans like to hate Cody Rhodes, that it's cool to hate Cody Rhodes. So I think now what we're getting is this like tug of war between Cody, AEW pushing him as a babyface, and us, the fans, that are like, nah, we don't want that. I think now I think in the beginning it probably wasn't what they wanted, but I think now they're starting to play with it. I think now they're starting to leverage it to benefit, Cody and, the story that they're probably eventually going to lead into. So I do think that this was something that started off as something that was not ideal. And now it's essentially turned into something else. And I think now they're kind of messing with the fans. So I think at this point, we're all now just getting worked. But that's just my assumption based on the little things that I've been seeing here. This person says they aren't dumb. This is the type of heat that will eventually pay off in a smart way. I think so too. In the beginning, I wasn't necessarily sold on it. I was just kind of like, guys, ditch it, make them heal. But now I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm starting to see stuff, and I'm starting to see that now they're leveraging it over to their side. We got a super chat from Chris Ledeck. Thank you so much to Chris, who says, hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Also, that segment between CM Punk and MJF was one of the best AEW has done since their debut 2 years ago. Really, really good stuff. Thank you so much to Chris for sending that in. And Daniel Zambrano says, Denise is 100% on the money. They are leaning into the complicated nature of the fan responses. Yup, I think so too. Alrighty, guys, there you go. That was AEW Dynamite, the Thanksgiving edition. I want to thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning into the show. Without you guys, I am nothing. So I appreciate your support. Thank you for coming in each and every single week. I will be back this Friday to talk Smackdown and AEW Rampage. Next week, I will be back to talk NXT, to talk Dynamite, to talk everything. So make sure you guys come in. Also, if you haven't already, please make sure to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo. I am about like 5,800 something followers away from hitting 50K on Twitter. I'm trying to hit 50K by the end of this year, which just kind of feels like an impossible task right now. So if you haven't followed me, go give me a follow. I'm super active on there, so I will see you guys on there. But other than that, please do not forget to give this video a like, leave a comment so that the algorithm promotes this video to other people. And I will see you guys back here on Friday. Have an awesome and wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody. Bye.